Just because the weather is getting cooler doesn't mean we can't go out and enjoy a lot of the things West Bloomfield Parks has to offer. Joining us this morning is the Interim Executive Director for West Bloomfield Parks, Joe Ketchum. Joe, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
So, Joe, I mentioned that you're the current Interim Executive Director for West Bloomfield Parks, and you also served as Park Superintendent for over 30 years. I don't think we've ever asked you about your background, but can you talk a little bit about how you came to West Bloomfield Parks originally and what sparked your interest in nature in the first place?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'm from Petoskey, Michigan, and my dad was the Parks and Recreation Director for the city of Petoskey. So I grew up in Parks and Recreation and attended Central Michigan University, where I have a community recreation major from Central Michigan University. And I graduated on a Saturday and started on a Monday here in West Bloomfield 30 years ago.
Wow. So it wasn't a big interview process. You weren't like going, oh, how am I going to get my first job? You had a Saturday and a Monday, and 30 years later.
Yeah, it was interesting. Actually, when my dad had left the city of Petoskey, Dave Burley became the Parks and Recreation Director, and I actually worked for Dave while I was in high school and college. And Dave ended up down here as the Deputy Director for West Bloomfield Parks, and he hired me right out of college.
No. So you should hold like a seminar where you tell kids, hey, how to keep a job for 30 years with one interview.
Yes, it's kind of crazy to think that I basically had one interview 30 years ago and walked into this career, and it's been a great place to. West Bloomfield has been a great community to work for. The community supports the parks. A lot of communities aren't set up like West Bloomfield, where we have a parks commission and our separate villages that fund us, and I think it really benefits the residents as long as, and also our workers and what we're able to accomplish in the parks here in West Bloomfield.
So, Joe, I know during the summer weather months, there's a lot of modifications and improvements that happen to a lot of the parks locations. But now that the weather is changing, I'm guessing this is the time where you plan some future projects. Can you tell us what work is on the horizon to improve the parks for the folks of West Bloomfield?
Sure. Just, we had a major parking lot renovation that took us 3 years down at Drake Road Sports Park, and that is finally finishing up. We were closed in the spring this summer, early summer, but the park's back open. We still have a few things to finish up on that parking lot. We originally were supposed to have hawk lights being put in at what we call Orchard Lake number 2 and Orchard Lake number 3 crossings along the West Bloomfield Trail along the Orchard Lake Road. That is a tri-party funded project. That means that West Bloomfield donates money, the city of Orchard Lake has donated money, and Oakland County Road Commission and Oakland County put in money. However, because of supply chain issues, we have that project has not been bid out yet. It should get bid this fall, and we look for hopefully installation in the spring of next year. So hopefully we look for those hawk lights, which are basically stoplights along the Orchard Lake. So when people are trying to cross Orchard Lake Road, they're going to be able to hit a button. The hawk lights will come on flashing and then go to a solid red, and the people on the trail can cross the road at Orchard Lake safely. And we've been trying to get those lights for years. This is a great collaboration between City of Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield Township, and the county. That's one of the. And right now we're in the budget plan for 2023. So we're just starting to outline some of our projects for next year. One of the major projects that we will have next year, so we received a $100,000 grant from Oakland County Parks. This is the first time Oakland County Parks when they passed their millage in 2018, I think, part of that millage was that they were going to give funds to local parks and recreation departments for projects. And we wrote a grant last year and we received it. So $100,000 grant will be going towards the installation of a new bathroom facility at Arrowhead, the trailhead at Arrowhead Road, what we call in the nature preserve. The West Bloomfield Woods Nature Preserve and the West Bloomfield Trail will get a new year-round bathroom facility at Arrowhead Road. We're looking forward to that. Like I said, I've been here since that trail was installed, and we've always had porta-johns out there. So we will really be happy to have a permanent, clean facility for our residents and for the users of the trail.
So, Joe, for years I've seen you at the West Bloomfield Parks committee meetings, and you seem to be maybe perhaps the biggest proponent of pickleball. I always associate you with pickleball. And pickleball is kind of it's out of control. I mean, it is becoming so popular. And are there any plans to build more pickleball courts in West Bloomfield for the demand?
So just so everybody knows, we're kind of on the front edge of that. We were able to take a safety town pad that we were underutilizing at Drake Sports Park and put in 4 pickleball courts. Since then, just this past summer, we renovated those 4 pickleball courts and all the tennis courts within the township that we own, which are the 5 at Drake Sports Park and the 2 at Keith Sports Park. At both those locations, at Drake, we have the 4 pickleball courts, the legal pickleball courts. But when we renovated the tennis courts, we put lines on the tennis courts at Drake. So we have 2 extra pickleball courts at Drake. So that brings us up to 6. And at Keith, we lined those. So we have 2 there. So you can play tennis and pickleball on those. So we have a total of 8 pickleball courts that people can use presently. And in our master plan that we went through in 2000, I got to think of the years now. 2021 is when we finished our last master plan. We identified that in the master plan we want to make it like a pickleball area at Drake Sports Park, in which we would have a facility with 8 pickleball courts. Obviously, we just rented those existing pickleball courts. That would be something we would look to do in about 5 years, because at that time, the tennis courts at Drake will be about 30 years old. And that safety town pad, which is now the current pickleball courts, will be 30 years old. We would look at complete renovation of the tennis courts and pickleball courts, and add 4 more pickleball courts and have a nice pickleball court. I don't know, what do you want to call it? Just a nice setting for the pickleball people, because it is a growing sport. It is actually out of control, and it's just not older people that are playing it now. Now you've got young kids playing it. There's professionals. It is a growing sport, kind of like tennis was in the 70s.
There was the National Pickleball Championship on, I think it was on ESPN3 or something, like a month ago. And you watch it, and it's like, it reminds you of like Forrest Gump playing ping pong. Okay, like this is not the pickleball that you see out on the court in West Bloomfield.
No, those are professionals. And actually, I think there's 2 professional leagues out there. It is crazy. They're talking about it becoming an Olympic sport too.
What about thoughts of having an indoor pickleball court somewhere?
Well, ideally, that's funny you bring that up. Yes, ideally, eventually, in our master plan, we identified that the recreation activity center here up at the Civic Center site, where Town Hall is and where our main offices are, it needs to have an expansion. And during that expansion time, we would look at turning this community center into a more active year-round center, in which we could hopefully include a gym, and obviously within that gym we would be able to play pickleball. So that's the future. We will be coming to the public for input on those plans soon. But yeah, our intentions, and once again, it was identified in the master plan, was to expand the recreation activity center. And one of those thoughts would be that we would add a gym that then we could have pickleball indoors.
Nice, very nice. That'll be great for the folks in the wintertime who want to play that pickleball.
Absolutely. And I know, and I'll just, not that I'm advertising, I know the sports club has indoor pickleball courts. I think some of the fitness areas like Lifetime Fitness offers it. I don't know if the school district has any rental opportunities out there. Ideally, when our Connect Senior Center closed up at Orchard Lake, we were looking at Abbott Middle School for the center. We were hoping to get that gym, because that would have gave us the opportunity to have indoor pickleball. But we are presently right now looking for properties within the township to hopefully get the Connect back up and running, hopefully by the summer of 2023.
Joe, it was great talking to you this morning. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Have a great day. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to call the West Bloomfield Parks, and I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody. We do have some upcoming events that I'd like to talk about. Our Trick or Treat Trail has a few spots left in it for registration. That's October 23rd from 3 to 5. This Saturday, we have a garage sale going on the Civic Center site in front of our office. It's a community-wide garage sale. That's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're looking for a one-stop garage sale where you can see, I think it's sold out. So we have all our spots sold out. So there should be a lot of good stuff for people who go out for garage sales can come out and buy some stuff. Those are the two main events that I wanted to talk about today.